Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you all. So today, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know, we're just gonna make a bunch of content, I guess. Make a bunch of content. Actually, I could check the Discord and see what other feedback has come through from the playtest, but haven't got a whole lot of playtest feedback just yet. And I've addressed a lot of it already. So yeah, I fixed a bunch of the bugs that came up. I just fixed a bug this morning where I could get an infinite echo loop with one of the legendary abilities. Thankfully, that was an easy fix, but you know, things like that are high priority fixes and need to be addressed. But other than that, yeah, that's about it. So we're going to be working on some more stuff. But again, the Alchemortis playtest is live right now for Patreon members. So first of all, wishlist Alchemortis on Steam, then you can head on over to Patreon if you want to get access right now. If you subscribe to either tier, immediately upon subscription, you will receive a Steam key to your email for the playtest. You do not have to support on Patreon though to get access to the playtest. I want to stress this every time. The playtest will be available for free to everyone starting on Monday the 27th. So in 6 days. So this is just here, the Patreon, if you want to support me. If you subscribe to the sponsored tier, not only will you get access to the playtest, but I'm also going to send you an Alchemortis Steam key for the full game when it launches, and I'm going to put your name in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So if that sounds good to you, definitely consider that. You can also purchase my Udemy courses. That's a great way to support me as well, and learn how to build games in the Godot engine. All right, let's take a look at the chat here. Hello Emerson, welcome. Hello Clickertail. Praise to the Almighty, welcome. People are joining quickly. Yeah, usually people filter in pretty quick within the first like 15-20 minutes. Hello Dan, welcome back. Good to see you again. Hello Totolin at Brainrot, welcome back. Hello Harivarsh, welcome. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Learn how to use save system with JSON. Very nice. That is a good skill to learn. Just got an ad. Sorry, I gotta make bread. Say you what's going on? What's going on, dude? Good morning, Jack. So we're gonna be making some new content, I think. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to beef up the number of corrupted abilities as well as the number of enchants and legendary abilities. So maybe we'll just do some thinking on that. I did add a new enchantment yesterday, which is now in the game, in the playtest. The enchant, where is it? This one. Abilities projected by this item are also projected to this item. So that's basically a self-projection. So this is a modification of what you suggested, Jack, in the Discord. So basically it's an enchant that you could put on anything that will make its projected abilities also apply to itself. Now the interesting thing is I never actually tested this with passive projection, so maybe I should do that. That might not work. Let's see. What do I have that passively projects things? The tree, the forest. So let's try that. It may work. I'm like 70% confident it's gonna work, but Let's test it. So forest, and then that enchant is what? Project includes self. Dude, bro. Hello, Michael Sardur. Your Steam capsule is very nice. How did you make it? Did you use AI? No, I did not use AI. I paid very, very good money. Oops, this is wrong. I paid very good money to an artist. I mean, the publisher paid good money to an artist, but it was done by hand by an actual video game artist. But, you know, maybe I should use AI, save a bunch of money if you can't tell the difference. I'm just kidding. No, it's done by hand. Sorry, I just gotta get I had to change all my debug settings to test. My contact at the publisher was playing the game this morning. He's the one that discovered the freeze bug, so I got his save file and I was messing around with it. Okay, I think we're good. So many lags. Hello, Willius, welcome. Probably a lot of hate for it, yeah. I would not recommend using generative AI for any of your video game assets. Not because, like, I have any particular problem with it, but because players do not like it, and that's a great way to get hate for your game almost immediately. So I will not use AI for content for any of my games unless, you know, unless the industry changes. But what am I doing? Enable test player cards. Okay, we're gonna get this right at one point. I heard AI came here to defend it, yeah. Okay, so add enchant. Project includes self. Projects to item below. Oh, it works, look at that. So this says, so that innate passive there, projects to items below, passive immune to paralysis, but then you can see that it's projecting that passive paralysis to itself as well. Cool, so that does work. Excellent. If you don't use it for money, I'm okay. Well, it will not change. I use it to make all my games, I don't care. Okay, so that works. Let's think of some new, so we want to do some new enchants. We also want to do some new corrupted abilities. We also want to do some new legendary abilities. I mean, there's a couple of things that I can do. So do I have fire? Self-fire per item above, I do. Do I have like a bleed? Self-bleed, enemy holy. So I've got all the status effects basically covered. Exhaust when paralyzed. Exhaustive frequent execution, 0 sell price. What do I want to do here? So I think I have reduced critical chance, reduced critical multiplier. What are some other interesting composed abilities or corrupted abilities we can make? We could do more paralysis, maybe. Paralyze self if on edge of board. I'm trying to think, like, what tools do I have to make interesting corrupted abilities here? We're healing the enemy. Project echo to enemy. We could do something like reduce enemy cooldown. So let's do that. So we're gonna do a new enemy cooldown on execution. So let's do that. I'm basically just going to copy the incense here. Ability builder speed. This would be ability corrupted enemy speed. Let's do 5. Entire board. We'll get rid of the tag. Does this have any built-in? No. So we're going to do order by random equals true. Query target provider dot query options dot limit is equal to 1. And we want to do query options dot query source board equals false. Query target provider dot query options query target board is equal to true. Oh, the key. Oh, the key may not be good here. Oh, I should probably check. Let's see. Can I set the key? Can I set the key? Set key override. Okay. I hope this works. Just call it enemy speed. Okay. And we put this down here, reduce enemy cooldown. All right, let's take a gander at that. Let's see. Make innate not execute. Oh, that's a good one. I'm a yapper. Zero shame. All right, let's see. Add, well, can I add a corrupted ability? Add corrupted ability. Enemy speed. Oops, I forgot to do the description. I should probably do that. Run the translation generator and then go back. All right. Add corrupted ability, enemy speed. Okay, corrupted reduce the remaining cooldown of one random enemy item by 0.5 seconds. Okay. Let's see what happens. Yep, it is working. Cool. Why is it targeting the feast every time? Is that just the random luck of the draw? Target the dog. Oh, there we go. I think it did that time. There it goes. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, there's a new corrupted ability for us. All right, what other corrupted abilities can we do? We'll just knock out a handful of these, because I do want to improve or increase this pool quite a bit. To you, what is the part you hate the most about making the game? Well, I think the stuff like translations and controller support those ones are not super fun to do. And the reason why they're not super fun to do is just because it's like very finicky and it doesn't really make a huge difference in like the game itself. It's just like kind of stuff that you have to do. So it's not that fun. Hello, Jehar. Glad to see another playtest underway. Yes, indeed. Give it a try. If you're a Patreon member, otherwise you can try it next week. All right, we need some more corrupted abilities. What are we gonna do? Let me just, I'll just go to my card inspection tool. Let me just scroll through and see if there's like any inversions I can do, right? Oh, we could do this. Let's do, I have an interesting one. Var increase ally corner cooldown. I added a new query capability that I'm eager to make use of, which is the corners. I can target the corners of the board now. So let's do new non-combat composed ability. Query target provider is equal to query target provider dot create. Let's just do options. Options dot query directions is equal to board inventory component dot query directions dot corners, and then options dot query source board. That's fine actually. Yeah, actually I think that's it. Cooldown modification. Const int base cooldown modification is equal to 0.5. No, not 0.5, just 5. For our current cooldown. Let's rename that. Base cooldown. New turn cooldown modification. Query target provider int amount. Well, actually, we're going to want... Let's just put 0 in here. We're going to do var dynamic turn cooldown is equal to new dynamic magnitude ability. This one is, we need a value provider. So let's do I'll just do a generic value provider, I guess. Generic value provider int. Okay, and then we're going to return. What the heck? I don't even need to do any of that. Just return current cooldown. So this is a little bit weird. So anything that's a magnitude ability it's pretty self-explanatory. A magnitude ability has a magnitude value. But if I want to dynamically change that value, I can't do that because it expects just a regular int in the constructor, and that will configure the magnitude in accordance with that amount. So what I can do is I can wrap the ability in this dynamic magnitude ability, and what this does is this actually accepts a value provider, which is basically a class that has a get value method. And so what it will do is that when this dynamic magnitude ability is executed, it will set the magnitude of the target ability here to whatever the return value of that get value call is. So that allows me to dynamically change the magnitude of a magnitude ability in accordance with however I want it to be. So basically, since I want this to scale with upgrades, I just want to have a function that returns the current cooldown, and then I'll pass in that generic value provider in there, and then the turn cooldown modification goes there. And then in my return value here, this would be increase cooldown corners. So we're going to pass in the query target provider and then the dynamic turn cooldown. So now in the scaling function, what I can do is I can say current, let's just do this, var scalar is equal to abilities scalars dot make additive scalar 1. we say current cooldown is equal to scalar base cooldown and then tier. And so this will be updated whenever the item is upgraded. And since this is always returning the current value of the cooldown, that will just be picked up automatically there. So now I can do here, increase cooldown of query target provider dot to query string template 0 by description utils dot time format 1 seconds. This would be ability corrupted increase cooldown corners. Okay. Description template parameters func query target provider dot query options dot limit or 0. And then we want to do the description utils magnitude to seconds current cooldown. Okay. I think that's it. So now we can just put this one in here. And now I can just test it. So let's go in. Making the legendary abilities and the corrupted abilities are pretty fun because it's just, I just need to create the ability and then that's it. It's just not like a lot of extra work to do. So let's just do, I don't know, let's just put on the skull tower again. Add corrupted ability. Oh, I forgot to build the translations, but you can see that this has, oh, okay, let's build the translations. I always forget to do that. I tried to make building the translations a build step in the CS project file, which worked, but it did kind of increase the build time, so I stopped. I stopped doing that. Okay, increase cooldown in, well, maybe that should say the cooldown. Increase the cooldown of items in the corners by 0.5 seconds. So we've got that. So let's try it out. You can see that that has the corners little indicator there. And if I put this guy, so this is 4.9 seconds. If I put him here, 5.4. Look at that. All right, cool. Excellent. Now what happens if I do add item boatman? Yeah, so that nullifies that. So you can see that this one, corrupted abilities are prevented from executing. So that's 5 seconds, and as soon as I put him here, that's back down to 4.5. Cool. All right, that one is working. Oh, I need to rebuild again because I added a word to the description. Pretty good, yeah. So I just want to make like, I don't know. I want to make a good amount of corrupted abilities. Like I said yesterday, I think I just want this game to have a lot of content in all of the systems so that your runs feel pretty different every time. I wonder if we could go on a little side quest. Corrupted ability, increase ally cooldown in corners of board. Just make sure to write all these down so I know what to put in the patch notes. What did you come up with the idea for board modifiers when you upgrade board size? It makes board size change direction matter a lot more. Well, that was just in direct response to some feedback that I got on the last playtest, which is that the grow board didn't really feel meaningful. Like you could grow it up or down or left or right. But functionally, whether you grew it horizontally or vertically, like the difference didn't matter, right? Like whether you grew the board up or down, it basically just changed how your cards got shifted around. But like there were really only two choices, right? And the two choices were add a row or add a column to the board. And so that was some feedback that I got. I don't think it was like a super big deal, but I was like, well, okay, how can I make it more interesting, right? And I think, you know, like with this game, it's just the way that you make a choice meaningful is that you actually just give players a choice, right? And so I was thinking, well, I basically have all the systems built up where I can like add abilities to items and I can modify items in some ways. So creating a board effect system was pretty straightforward, and it just allowed me to just add more choice to that grow board event. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like the solution to that kind of problem where players say, hey, I don't think the choice is meaningful is like, well, number one, are you even giving them a choice to begin with? Are you really giving them a choice? And two, if the choice isn't meaningful and you are trying to give them choices, maybe it's just because like the choices aren't that compelling, or there's one choice that's obviously better than the others, right? So the situation that I want to end up with in this game, which I think I'm approaching, is I want to make it so that every single decision you make at every step of the game is something like, it's a little bit of a difficult choice, not because you can't understand the game, but because all the options are equally good or could be equally good if you built correctly or whatever, right? Now, that doesn't mean, like, obviously, if you have a certain build, you might encounter an artifact where, like, there's one obvious choice. But that obvious choice should be conditional on what your build currently looks like and not just, oh, this artifact is definitely better than anything else, so I'm just going to take that no matter what my build is, right? So, yeah. So I'm trying to make it, like, one of the main goals of this game is, like, make players have a tough choice to make every time they have to make a choice. So what node you visit next should be a tough choice. Which items you take from the boosters should be a tough choice. Which items you buy from the shop, right? What items you throw into alchemy, what things do you sell? What artifacts do you choose, right? What corrupted abilities do you keep on your items to try to like build around? Stuff like that. Hello, Gimity. This is Obsidian with the Kanban plugin. I would like maybe in the future to have a way to remove board modifiers, but yeah, it's a choice. Maybe I just have to deal with it. Yeah, I mean, I try to make it so that board modifiers are like useful always. There are some that could be considered negatives, like the ones that set items to have one specific tag. Like, but the thing about the board modifiers is that they don't ever take away anything from you, because the board modifiers always get added to the new row or new column, which definitionally will have no items in it, right? So even if none of the board grow options are particularly appealing to you, it doesn't ruin the build that you currently have, because it only affects items in the brand new row that got added, which nothing will exist in yet, right? So it's up to you to decide how you want to fill those empty spaces now, given that you have that board effect, right? Well, yeah, I could definitely see it being something like, you know, you could get maybe an artifact that allows you to remove board modifiers in exchange for like a resurrection stone or something. That might be cool. We could do some artifacts too. I think that would be fun. Anyway, can we think of any more corrupted abilities here? Maybe a corrupted swarm ability. Do I have a corrupted swarm ability? Oh, I don't. Oh, here we go. Do I have self-poison? I do. Ability builder poison. I wonder if I should self-poison. I have to be careful with this. Actually, where is that? I have a test that guarantees. Test. Ability key uniqueness test. Oh, I already have a test for that. Okay. So I need to make sure that the keys of the abilities are unique within each system or each item. So I can't make another thing that has the poison keyword, but that's okay. What I think I'm going to do. The other thing I was thinking about for these systems is I could almost create like a combination of things. So I could have a self-damage, right? But then I could wrap it in a bunch of different things. Like I could add swarm self-damage, right? So I could take like a bunch of these and just like make swarm versions of those programmatically and just have those appended to that array. I was thinking about doing the same thing for the board effects where like instead of baking the condition into the ability, I can create a bunch of conditions and a bunch of abilities and then mix and match them, right? So let's say that I have 8 conditions and 8 abilities. If the conditions were grouped with the abilities from the board effect, that would just be 8 options, right? But if I split that and I programmatically generated them and I said, okay, pick a random condition and pick a random ability and merge them together, then I would end up with 64 potential combinations, right? That might be a nice way of just getting like quote unquote free extra content by just remixing them a little bit more. So that was something that I wanted to investigate. But yeah, I don't know for sure. I picked one that increased the cooldown and gave it crit, I think, so I kind of regret it, but it's not a big deal. We have a lot of options to change the board anyways, just wondering. Yeah. Anyway, let's do... I do have to set the key override. Actually, let me just test this. Oh, well, never mind. Actually, I do want to test it. I wonder if my test actually works. I have some unit tests in the game. It's the most unit tests I've ever written for a game, and it's a grand total of 3. And I hardly ever run them, but that's okay. This should fail. Yeah. I still wish I could figure out how to actually get the output, but I bet you if I remove this test now, it should succeed. Get rid of that. So it's good to verify that that actually does work. How do you deal with balancing the game complexity and strategy without having too much text and tutorials, like not having your game be a reading comprehension test, but still being fun and engaging? The test did not record any output, really? So the one thing that I'm trying to do for that, and welcome to the stream, by the way, Stizzy. The one thing I'm trying to do for that is use consistent language. So I think if language is always used the same way to mean the same things, right? So like a detail is, for example, whenever I use the word for each in an ability description, that implies that it's going to execute whatever ability multiple times. So if it says apply 2 bleed for each time damage was dealt, that means that it's going to apply 2 bleed repeatedly for each time you dealt damage, which is different than saying apply 2 bleed per instance of damage dealt. And the difference being that when I use the word per, it's one application of bleed that has the number scaled to be multiplied out by the number of times you dealt damage. But the for each is individual applications of 2 bleed. And that's important because some things scale based off of like how many times you applied bleed, and some things scale based off of like how many stacks of bleed you applied, right? So I'm trying to be consistent with the language and like use the same phrases to mean the same things. So that's one thing. The other thing is just trying not to make a lot of the abilities too complex. Like it's pretty easy to understand just like a basic damage and poison ability. Like if an ability just says applies 3 poison, like it's pretty easy to understand what that does. And making it so that way like you can actually put together relatively strong builds just with like very basic abilities. Like you don't need to go through all this like complex ability chains to understand what's happening. You could just like use very simple abilities and those would work as well. But then a lot of it too is like there is a lot to learn. You have to learn how these little interactions work, but I think that's part of the game. Like I think this game is not really for casual players. Like it's not like Balatro where it's pretty easy to understand. It's pretty easy to understand like how the jokers work and everything. And it's just a very simple like a number go up kind of game. This game is more for an audience of people who like to dig into the details of like how the interactions work and learn how the interactions work and then leverage that to their benefit. Do you know what I mean? But anyway. Swarm self-poison. Is this going to run this time? Yeah. I guess we'll just test it out. I may nerf that a little bit. Oh, never mind. Hold on a second. Let's change that. Do you do any unit testing? I have 3 unit tests. I don't run them frequently though, but they're just like little things that can help me just do quick validation on some critical things. Okay. Let's just make sure this works. New to game dev here, what's a unit test? A unit test is essentially a piece of code that makes sure that another piece of code works as expected. So it's an automated way of validating basically the inputs and outputs of a given function. Oh, do I have an issue here? Poison. I think I have an issue here. I think poison is not bypassing armor. Oops. Should absorb shield. Is player immune to armor bypass or damage context? Ignore armor. Yeah, this needs to have ignore armor here. Oops. Well, we'll push out a build and fix that because that was a mistake. Let me look at is there no way for me to see the history of a specific file? I got rid of git lens, so I don't know how to do it in here. Let's see. Timeline. Here we go. Where did this break? Oh. Well, let's just see if that works. Oops. Oops. Let me see. Let me just make sure this works. Add, whoops. Add corrupted ability self swarm. And then we'll add item maggot. So this should be bypassing armor now. Oops, broke a critical part of my game and didn't notice. Classic. Okay, now it's working. All right. Fix poison. Just make sure I'm not doing any poison damage directly anywhere else. Okay. Okay, so fix that. I'll push out another build. Okay. I'm trying not to be intimidated as learn my C# course. I keep telling myself that this will just be replacing my old hobby I couldn't do anymore. But I think I'm at least a year away from starting. Oh, yeah, I mean, it can be intimidating. But you'll get it. You'll get it. Can't wait for the GMTK jam. Any tips? I've only done a week-long jam so far, so I need to keep things simple, right? Yeah, I mean, generally the way, I don't know how long GMTK is this time. I think it's, somebody said it was 4 days. I don't know if that's correct, but typically the kind of metric that I use is that you should have the game mechanics and everything solidified like halfway through the jam, and then the remaining half of the time should be adding polish. So I actually have a video on this channel called Game Jam Tips or something, but I guess I would distill the tip down into like making the game feel and look and sound good is very, very important to the impression that you're going to give players. So if you have a choice between adding more content or more mechanics or working on visual polish, audio polish, etc., you should spend the time on the polish instead of the mechanics. The other thing is, don't worry about making your game too long, right? Like you're not making a game that you're going to sell on Steam right away. And so you don't need to worry about there being a lack of content, right? And as a matter of fact, in game jams, it's often better to give the players such a compelling experience that's short that they're left with the feeling that they want to play more. And one way you can leave them with that feeling is impress them with the visuals, and obviously the game mechanic has to be solid and everything like that, but maybe err on the side of the game being shorter rather than longer, because you don't, in a game jam, you don't want the player to get bored, right? I think a very common problem with game jam games is that, like if you're making like a puzzle platformer, people feel like they need to add 20 levels to the game, but then the average player is going to go in, play 6 levels, and get bored, and then close your game and give you a rating, right? So you want to introduce your new ideas as quickly as possible. You don't want to overstay your welcome. You want to put a lot of effort into the visual polish and leave the players with the impression that the game was super fun and super polished. And a lot of that is just like smoke and mirrors. You know, a lot of that is hiding the fact that you didn't have any more ideas for the game by making it shorter, right? A lot of it is just wowing them with the visual effects and the game feel. So like you can get away with your game idea not being that compelling if all of those other elements are really good. So that's what I would say. The most I've done is make the beginnings of a text-based RPG. I'm starting to learn why these projects takes months. 1 month in during downtime, I'm like 20% done. Yeah, game development is really hard. It does a really good job of being fun for casuals and appealing to those that enjoy optimizing. Yeah, that is definitely true. Huge respect for people that complete any project. It's my self-imposed semester project. Those OMG it works moments, yeah, those are great. Old style cheat codes, or is that just taken over by modders? Yeah, I mean, I think cheat codes were mostly like just developer things, right? If I'm not mistaken. So like if you put like debug tools into your game, like I have a console or whatever, like I built that for development primarily, but maybe at some point in the future, I'll publish a branch of Alchemortis that has the cheats enabled so people can just like spawn in whatever they want. But it's not like I built the cheats for the players. It was built for me and I just give them access to it, right? Yeah, that is awesome. July 22nd to July 26th. Finalize this project at the end of the course and then start primitive rogue clone. Need a computer upgrade before I start up Godot. Godot Wild Jam is 9 days. Yeah, I don't usually like participating in longer jams because number one, I have other things to work on, but I just feel like the short jams are nice because you can just sprint really hard for like 2 or 3 days, you know, work 12 or 14-hour days on your jam project and then it's done, right? It's like a very short little sprint. I'm currently waiting for these builds to go. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we'll figure out some more stuff to do. Actually, there's a bug that I want to investigate, so maybe we'll do that. See if I can fix that, but I'll be back in just 3 minutes, and we will continue on. All right, I'm back. I'll catch up on the chat in just a second, but let me push. I'm going to push these builds out to Steam. That was kind of a nasty bug. I should have tested that more, I guess. What am I looking for? Go. Open. So I'm just promoting these builds in Steam. Deploy all these. Okay. Gotta love automated build process. There's only two manual steps in the whole thing, and that's the initial kickoff of the deploy process, and then I have to go into the Steam backend and manually promote the builds to production. But so that's out. Thank you for the tips. You're welcome. How long did it take you to create your 17.5 hour Godot course? A long time, probably 2 weeks of full-time work. So I would guess probably around 80 hours, because the thing is, like, that's 17.5 hours of final content, right? So that's a minimum of 17.5 hours of me recording. But of course, in practice, it's more, because the lessons end up being longer when I'm recording them, because I'll usually, like, sometimes I'll pause in the middle of a lesson while I'm recording it and sit there for 5 minutes and think about the next step that I want to take in the lesson. Because I don't plan everything out in my courses like in extreme detail ahead of time. Usually what I do is I just kind of like plan it out one lesson at a time and say, okay, like, what's the next best step to get to the goal? And that ends up making the courses feel very organic and natural, because it's like, I'm actually building the game while I'm teaching you how to build it. Like, I don't actually know what, like, when I'm on lesson 20, I don't actually know what the 60th lesson is going to be, right? So sometimes I'll have to stop and think while I'm recording, think about what step I want to take next. Sometimes planning the next lesson takes 15, 20 minutes just to think about, like, what I want to do next. And then, of course, there are lessons where I didn't explain myself properly and I scrap the entire lesson and I re-record it. So it could be, you know, for a 17.5 hour course, it could be 25 or 30 hours of raw footage that I end up either scrapping or I have to edit down. And then, of course, there's the editing process, which means that I have to watch back every single minute of what I recorded. So, like, I don't just record the video and then throw it up. I record the video and then I go through and I edit out all the pauses, I edit out all the mistakes, I edit out all the annoying noises that I might make. Or, you know, if the cat made some noise in the background, I have to edit that out. So I watch back every minute, then I have to render the video, which takes a couple minutes. And then, of course, uploading the videos and writing the descriptions for the videos and all that stuff is like, yeah, it's very time consuming. So it takes a long time. It takes a long time. Probably 2 or 3 weeks of full-time work. Try my best. Maybe someday I could be as good as you. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. I'm not anything special. All right, let's take a look at this bug. Tiers applied by a movable monolith are messing with upgrade event. I think it's 7 is the upgrade. Let's do enable test player artifacts. Monolith. All right, so if I put, let's see, left adjacent item. So we put that one up there. So that increases the tier. So the bug is this, basically. We've got the tier at tier 4. Then I go over here and it says it's going to upgrade to tier 5. Oh, interesting. But that's not right. It's going to go up to tier 2. What happens if I actually do this? Okay, it just upgrades at that. So I think the tooltip is just wrong then. Let's see. Well, we're going to have to go deep diving through that system now. Get card tier preview. Card to tier preview. Add card to tier. Add card tier preview. Let's see. On card placed. Get capped target tier for card. Get additional tier target. Base card at tier plus additional target. Base card dot tier. Get capped tier target for card. Where is this? I wonder if I just use the base tier here. Is this ever used anywhere else? No, it's only used in one place. So instead of doing that, okay. Let's see if that fixes it. I think the problem is it was reading the current tier, which includes all of the temporary modifications, when it should have been reading the base tier. So I think that's correct. So if I do, oh, of course, the monolith spawned on the left side of the board. There we go. So if I do this now, and I go over here, there we go. Okay, so now it's showing that it's properly going up to 2. We do this. 9. So now let's see. It should go 9 to 11, I think. So that one's 15 armor, but I go 9 to 11. There we go. Okay. So that was just a bug of reading the wrong value. Yeah. Okay, that's fixed. That was easy. I thought that was going to be a lot harder, but it wasn't. Okay. Hello, Dabu. Welcome. Good to see you. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Good morning, Chris. What tools are you using for combat board? It's Obsidian with the Kanban plugin. So we have a couple of options. I may nerf Phylactery again. Let's just nerf Phylactery again. I'm gonna make this innate. Phylactery continues to be a problem. Sorry, Ninja Link, if you're watching. Oh, I can't even test it. Training dummy. Handle is not initialized, okay. All right, we'll try that. I wonder if that's going to break anyone's save systems. I don't think so. No, it shouldn't. Remove white flash on heal from normal abilities. I think I will do that. Let's do that. It's going to be a little quality of life thing. So let's see. Board combat component. Board. Fade highlight. Play fade highlight. Is combat board on combat ended? Is in combat. Okay. We're going to do if not is simulating and health state is heal and not is in combat. Let's actually put that first. I guess it doesn't matter, but... Okay, let's take a gander. So we remove the heal flash. Let's just add item. Well, it doesn't matter. So the board will no longer flash white during combat when heals happen. I agree that that was distracting, but it should happen when we're outside of combat. Yeah, so anytime we get healed outside of combat, it should be fine. What is the health upgrade event? I actually don't think... Max health is 6. GMTK Jam starts tomorrow. Will you participate? No, I'm not going to participate. I have to work on Alchemortis. Okay, that max health heal is not flashing the board. Maybe I can change that. Is heal equals received heal or... Actually, I might do something different here. Increase max health, keep current health. Let's do this. We're going to keep the current health. Var skip restore is equal to if not skip restore, dot player board dot board combat component dot heal to full. Heal 2% 1. Am I doing that? Where? How? Is combat healing reduced? Let's change that to is heal blocked. Okay. Let's try that. Is a roguelike a good game genre to start? I think so. I think so, because you don't have to worry about like necessarily writing a narrative or anything, and the game can be very simple. So yeah, I think it's fine. Not enough blood. Okay. That kind of works. Yeah, that's probably fine. I do want to see if block health restore, though. Let me add the draft of coagulation and just make sure. Actually, does that... Draft of add artifact. I think that's the one that blocks health, right? Health is no longer restored after combat or events. Okay. So let's see. There we go. Cool. All right, so that is still working. Good. Remove heal flash during combat. Do you make use of AI in game development, and what's your general opinion on using AI for coding? I use AI for coding on occasion. Usually, I mean, I went over this yesterday, but I'll just repeat the gist of it, which is that I use the AI tools for debugging, so helping me find bugs so I don't spend an hour tracking down an off by one error, for example. I use it for verifying, like doing code reviews. So after I am done implementing a feature, I will often ask Claude, you know, hey, I implemented this feature. It's designed to address this problem or implement this functionality. Can you scan the code base and find if there's like any unintended side effects or any edge cases that I didn't think about? That's very helpful as well. And then like for architectural planning, like if I need to make a big change to the game, I will often like propose a plan to Claude and then have Claude point out any issues or improvements that can be made to that plan. But as far as the actual coding effort goes, I do the vast majority of that by hand myself. And the reason for that is because I need to have an understanding of how my code is working. And if Claude is writing the code, that's as if somebody else wrote the code, right? And then I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I think it's a good tool to use in those situations, but I wouldn't use it like in a vibe coding capacity at all. Man, I thought I had this mind-blowing idea about 3D turn-based strategies, and what I realized, and people already did with hype maps, must have been on something. That's okay. Your ideas don't need to be original. I think that's an impression that I had when I first started making games. Like, how am I going to make a game that's original that no one has ever played before? But like, that's not necessary, right? Like, your game could just be original in the sense that it has like one different mechanic and like it's presented visually differently, and that's usually enough of a differentiator to make your game stand out. So yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. What are we doing today? Well, I'm just doing a bunch of content, quality of life changes, all that stuff. Started playing around with shaders and render graphs in Unity, and man, it's a whole new world. Never used them in previous games, but I think they really allow a visual personality. Yeah, shaders are great. Shaders are great. You're welcome, Timbo. Have you ever worked with something like this? Shader graphs? Well, Godot has visual shaders. Actually, there was a point in time where I was, like, if I needed a shader, I would go and look up, like, a Unity shader graph, and then I would just translate it to the Godot visual shader. I did that on a couple of occasions, and that was pretty cool, but I've just gotten in the habit of, like, writing my own shaders now with code. Game dev, OMG, my game is not original player. OMG, 2 cakes. Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, me personally, like, I would love for a Minecraft clone to come out that is basically everything that Minecraft should be or should have been. I don't know why no one has tried to do that yet. Like, everyone's trying to be so original. It's like, no, just copy Minecraft and then, like, do all the things that Minecraft should have done. You know what I mean? But anyway, it's okay. Are there any shaders in Alchemortis? Yes, there's a whole ton of them. So let's point out all the shaders on the screen. This fog of war reveal is a shader. Technically, every particle system you use is also a shader, but we won't count those ones because that's not handmade. This fade in that happens here, see how that fades in? That's a shader. The screen darkening, when I open up a pause menu, that's a shader. The flow for the liquid here, those are shaders. The outlines that you see when I hover over this, that's a shader. What else? The various card effects that you can get. Add item, lead ingot. This is a shader. That background effect is a shader. When I go into combat, oh, that's a shader there. The background on that text. That's a shader. If I go into combat, the turn indicators that show up, like show you how close the item is to executing, that's a shader as well. What else? So like those fading out is a shader. The dimming here, see how the cards dim? That's a shader. That fade out is a shader. If I go into combat here, these turn indicators, these white bars that grow, those are shaders as well. So yeah, there's a ton of shaders in this game. This fog down here and up here, this slightly animated fog, that's shaders. What happened to your wrist? Nothing happened, it's just preemptive. Just reinforce the old wrist, you know, so I don't get RSI or whatever. I do a lot. I sit on the computer a lot, but I also like play guitar and stuff, and so I just need to make sure that my wrist is not doing anything too aggressive all the time. Definitely recommend it if you spend a lot of time at the computer. Getting a little wrist brace just to reinforce your wrist can be a good idea. I especially had this problem too. Like, I use smaller keyboards now. This is my keyboard. It's I think it's a 70% or 75%. The problem is that the keyboard is too long. I find that my mouse wrist ends up going at a weird angle because there's no room. And then that puts strain. So I went with smaller keyboard, got a wrist brace. Fixed a lot of stuff. Makes perfect sense because things are so fluid, yeah. I didn't know that was the approach. Really cool. Yeah, the fluid stuff especially is really good as shaders. Like, and the rule in this game, as many of you know, is that I'm not doing frame by frame animations. So anytime I need to animate anything, I only have a couple of options, right? I can use an animation player, I can use a tween, or I can use shaders or particles. Like, those are basically the only options I have for animation in this game. And so, and the other restriction too that makes me need to use shaders is that every single color that ends up on the screen needs to be one of the 8 colors in the palette. And so that means that if I've got like a modal here that overlays the screen and like darkens the background, all of the colors that end up being darkened have to be a color in the color palette. And so there's no way to accomplish that except through a shader. I can't use transparency because if I just put a black square and then set it to like 50% transparency, that would create new colors. That would create colors that are not in the palette. And so the shader actually steps down the palette color to darken things. So you'll notice like you can see these roads here. They're the darkest color that they can be before the black color. And when I bring up the overlay, those completely disappear because those are being rendered as black now, right? And then there's also like multiple layers of this. So like you can see how this provides a darken, and then I click abandon and that provides a darken, or if I click unlocks, that darkens it further. So that effect can stack as well. It just keeps stepping through. And then these are all darkened here until I unlock stuff. The health lobes. Oh yeah, the green lines. Yeah, these are shaders too. I have a TKL keyboard now, but I don't recommend it for studio style apps. You know what? I've honestly never felt any pain around never having a number pad. But maybe that's just because I'm a boomer and I don't know how to use a number pad. Hello, Anthony. No, I'm not. I'm going to be working on Alchemortis. I would love to participate. GMTK is probably my favorite jam to participate in, but 4 days is a long time. I can make a lot of progress in Alchemortis in 4 days. And with the release date coming up, you know, that's just something I have to do. I have to focus on. Unfortunately, we can't all get what we want all the time. Blender uses numpad a lot for view orientation. Gotcha. All right, let's see. I'm going to try to redraw the leech here. I don't know how this is going to go, but we're going to try it. Okay. Okay, I think that's a better... Oops. I always have the fill tool selected when I shouldn't. Okay. Let's see how this works. Yeah, I think, let's see. Make this thicker, maybe. Okay. Get rid of that. Alrighty. Thicken this up a little bit. Oh, maybe that's too thick. Anyway. Okay. I'm just going to get some rough shading in. I don't know about the teeth and whatnot, but let's get rid of the teeth for now. And put everything back the way it was. Oops. Someone shared your latest video in GMTK Discord? Really? That's great. Wow. I'm very happy about that. Why are you using only 8 colors? Because that's just what I chose to do. It is not deeper than that. I wonder if I should just brighten the whole thing up quite substantially. Like, I almost wonder, would it be appropriate to do something like this? That looks kind of good, I guess. I'm almost wondering, like, I'm tempted to do this, do that, and then do this. Okay, that may actually work better. And then if I just... streamline that a little bit. Let's get rid of this. I'm not really happy with that. Let's try it again. So I want to do up and over. So I'm trying to use the highlight to give the impression of like curvature. Doesn't appear to be working that well though. Well, that is definitely not working. Okay, maybe. That might be okay. I think this needs to go up more. I don't know about this one. I don't know why. Sometimes the art just doesn't flow that well for me. Yeah, I don't really know about this. I don't think it's gonna work. No. Nope, it's not gonna work. Okay, well. Well, shoot. Okay. I guess I'm just not gonna be artsy today. This looks terrible. Okay. Let's try again. I don't know. I might just give up on this right now. I just don't know what it is. Sometimes I just can't do the art. It doesn't help that I haven't really drawn a leech before, so I don't really know what to do. Nope. What is it about this one that's just not working? I don't understand. Get rid of all this garbage. Okay. This whole thing right here, let's just... Well, maybe we won't get rid of it. Let's just do this. Man. All right, let me look at a leech on the internet. I almost wonder... I don't know. By the way, you didn't. We didn't see you play Alchemortis yesterday. What happened today? Maybe we'll see. What's on the menu today? Just doing random content, quality of life fixes, that sort of thing. Do you do all the artwork yourself too? I do, yes. And do you have a good resources for becoming better at that part of game development? I have a video on this channel called Pixel Art Tips. How to get good at pixel art with no skill. Now, I'm not being the best the best example of that right now, but those were the tips that I learned that made a noticeable difference in the quality of my art when you know, as I'm learning it. I wonder if I should just like so yeah, you can check out that video if you're interested. I wonder... Oh, okay. Here we go. This is hard to see, I know. Let's brighten it up. This bottom part is throwing me off a little bit. The problem is... What is the problem? Try to shrink this down a little bit. No, that doesn't work. Okay. I guess that's probably fine. maybe a more aggressive. Yeah, the problem is I can't really shrink that out. Okay, well, anyway, let's see what... Let's just see what this produces, I guess. Let's just see what this produces. So instead of trying to draw a mouth, I'm just gonna like... Yeah, I don't know. This is not gonna work. Fudge. So the problem is, whenever I start some art, if I don't have a clear idea of like how to approach it before I start, I usually just end up flailing around like I'm doing right now. Let's do this. Let's see. So what I kind of want to do, hold on, let me, okay. Let's just get rid of this ugliness. Get out of here. All right. So I kind of want to have like I need to make it look shiny and slimy. That's the big thing that I'm trying to do now. So I need to do something like this. I want to have like a shiny part of the body coming up like that. I don't want to separate the head with shadows or highlights. What if I pull this up a little bit and then shrink this back down? No, that doesn't look right either. Maybe. Well, art is a struggle sometimes, I guess. We'll try that. Let's just see what I can do with that, I guess. Oops. So I want to make it look shiny, which means that I'm probably going to want no. That may look okay. Do I want like a little shiny piece in here? I wonder, let's see. Can I like, okay, that might work. If I just imply a little bit of shape there. Alrighty, we're kind of getting there. The hardest part is getting the curvature right. Oops. Okay, maybe. I don't know about this yet. We'll just get rid of that for now. So yeah, maintaining the curvature is very important. Maybe it could be suctioned to the top of the box with a 1 pixel black border, of course, so it looks like it's attached to the box itself. Guess seeing the mouth really shows what it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't do a leech mouth, so I'm not going to try. The thing about the art, too, is I have to work within my limits. I have to work within my limits, unfortunately. Nope. Well, maybe. No. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Might just throw this one in the trash. I mean, it's not like the current art is good, though. That's the thing. Whole reason I'm doing this is because the current art is pretty bad, actually. I don't know. This is just not working. This is just not working. Well, sometimes that happens. Yeah, it's just not working. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Just by changing the colors again. Well, you can't win them all, I guess. All right, I'm done with that. We're not gonna do that anymore. Get deleted. That sucks. Oh well. I'll try it again later. I will try it again later. Some days I don't know what it is. Some days I just don't feel... Some days the art just doesn't come to me for some reason. Other days it's like I can bang out something that looks pretty good in like 15 minutes, but then other days it's just like I don't even know. Put that back in the backlog. Gosh, the slime is going to be hard to redraw too. All right, let's do something else. So a lot of people have requested showing heal in the combat summary. So we could do that. It's just going to be a little bit weird because I don't have like a dedicated heal column, but I could just put it in like the damage column, I suppose. That may be confusing. I guess I can do, yeah, actually, I think I know what I can do about that. So we'll figure that out. All right, so we'll work on showing heal in the combat summary, but before I do that, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and then when I come back, we'll work on that. So BRB. All right, everyone, I'm back again. Show heal and combat summaries. So I actually don't remember where this needs to go. Overview summary. Player card summary table. Card stats in data. Base card combat stats. Summary item configure, create damage label string. In order by descending, wrap color purple. So I guess I'm not collecting. Oh, healing done is a different thing. Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Damage string. This is damage type int. Okay, so I wonder actually, ordered is equals order by descending. Let's do this. For ordered with heal is equal to I wonder damage dealt by type. So that's not logging. It's not logging the heal. I'm back, yeah. All right, well, we'll just do this the easy way for now. Damage dealt by type is equal to, let's just do, this is damage type int. So we'll do dictionary, damage type int, new card combat stats dot damage dealt by type, damage dealt by type, damage type dot heal is equal to healing done. Okay, and now we can do damage dealt by type order by descending. Actually, I only want to add this if the healing done is greater than 0. All right. So I think that will do that. The summary header. We'll just do damage or heal like that. Okay, build. Build the translations, go to project settings, we'll generate a training dummy. And then in here, let's do add item lamb bone ring. Put that in there. So I should start seeing some healing now. It's combat summary. There we go, lamb bone ring heal. Boom, 3. That works. Bring it up again, that's 12. Good. And just to be extra sure, I'll just put some more items on the board here. Okay. Make sure I didn't break anything. That's amazing. Yeah, we'll see. All right, combat summary, skeleton warrior damage, lamb bone ring. It would be nice. Yeah, I can definitely expand this out. So like this is the first iteration of this and it may not improve that much more until release, but I definitely have a foundation here where I can build in more information if people need it. So but let's auto resolve. Let's take a look at the healing. 96 from Lambone Ring. And then damage 185 from that guy. All right, cool. All right, so add healing to combat summary. Just having the info is awesome. Most games don't have this. Yeah. All right. I can't reproduce this bug. So let me think. Do we have any artifact ideas? I kind of want to do another artifact. Let's see. That's a good one. A swarm-based artifact. Reagent conversion artifact. Interesting. Phoenix Cloak, Soul Lantern. Oh, I already did a Soul Lantern rework, so we'll get rid of this. Okay, we'll delete this one. Confused items deal 1 extra self damage. Confusion applied to enemies lasts for an additional execution. Oh, that would be a good one. Yeah, let's do that one. Get some more confusion synergies. But I have to go back to art now. So we need to think of something for confusion. What would be a good theme for like a confusion-based artifact? If I can't think of anything, I can always implement the functionality first, but... What would be a good... What would be a good one for, like a good theme for confusion? Something magic, yeah. I'm thinking something like madness related. Like if we have something that's madness related, what could we do? It doesn't have to be a real item either. It can be something I make up. I'm thinking maybe it could be like a little, oh, I have an idea. The Orb of Confusion. I have an idea. I mean, do we have a bell artifact? I'm thinking it could be like a little hand bell. So if let's see if I can actually do this time. I'm just gonna get this symmetry. Oops. What the frink? How do I get this over to where I need it to be? Are you serious to me? Oh, there we go. So I'm thinking if it's like a handbell, do something like this. Oh, that's not, is that not right? Interesting. Well, maybe I won't use the symmetry then. We'll just do this. All right. I mean, it would be nice to have the symmetry though. I wonder why that's not right. Oh, there it goes. No, it's like barely off. Do you see that? Oh, there we go. Okay. We do have to make sure that it's at least 3 pixels away from everything. So I may need to shrink this down a little bit, actually. Okay. Yeah, something like that. Oh, but it's too close to the edge now. Let's see. Okay, that may actually work. 3 pixels away. 3 pixels away. Okay. Okay. All right. So hopefully this one is a little bit better than the leech. I hope it goes a little bit smoother. Let's start it off with the base shadow color, and we'll turn this one down as well. Okay, so then I got to think about the curvature here. Spatial reasoning skills activate. I think it's a decent, is it a decent start? Yeah. Nope, I'm just back to where I started. Okay. Well, we'll just try with that for now. Actually, I wonder if I just make this thicker. Yeah, something like that might work. And then Okay. This is going a little bit better than before. That's probably fine. If I wanted to, I might be able to do like a little bit of red there. This is probably going down too far. Yeah, I think that looks fine. Okay, that's probably good. And then we'll just... Actually, we want to move this up a little bit. Probably do some darker parts there. That's probably good, right? I wonder if I want to make the top darker there, actually. No, that kind of... I think that kind of ruins it a little bit. Maybe not, though. Whatever, I'll just keep it the way it was. It was acceptable before. Don't need to worry about it too much. I think maybe I will bring this over, though. No, we gotta keep it like that. That looks better. I still don't know. I don't know about that pixel there. Let's just get rid of that. That's probably fine. Do I want to make this gold instead of... I mean, you can't really tell either way, I guess. All right. That one went a little bit better than the leech. That's good. Okay. So we're 2 pixels away. All right. Are these things called handbells? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we'll export that. Let's do artifact creation tool. We'll just call this handbell create. All right, handbell. We edit this region here, select the handbell. And we're gonna call this handbell of madness. Description. Keyword confusion lasts an additional execution, something like that. Okay, so handbell confusion lasts an additional execution. Oh, additional execution. No constructor found for artifact ID. Oh, I forgot to build. Okay, that's fine. It's time for game day once again. Thank you for the goat trophy for 1,000 jewels. I definitely know what 1,000 jewels means. So thank you. It's very generous. It's very generous. Thank you, and welcome back, Jackie Daytona. That looks dope. Thank you. Have you made a wedding ring yet? I have not. That would be a good artifact theme anyway. Oh, it's the romance idea, right? But that actually is a good artifact idea. Wedding ring. That would be a really good, you know, like some kind of, I don't know. I mean, just for you, Ungi Bungi, if I make the wedding ring, I'll call it like the wedding ring of lovers or something, or wedding ring of something. And I'll make it do something. Implying the romance mechanic isn't a good idea. You could say you're married to the wedding ring idea. Yeah, you could say that. I'll do it just for you, Ungi Bungi. How's this? I'll strike up a deal with you. I'll add the wedding ring as an artifact, and that will satisfy the romance in the game for you. Do we have a deal? Okay. Public, static, read-only, artifact, modifier, key, int, additional, confuse, duration is equal to new, additional, confuse, duration. I actually don't think these need to be super specific, but we've got the handbell, register modifier, artifact modifiers dot additional confuse duration, current +1. All right. So then if I go to my buff applicator, the question is, where do I want to put the additional duration? Like, where in the code? Do I want to put it in the buff applicator, or do I want to put it directly in the confuse debuff? Remaining duration. Add buff. Oh, the other thing is I need to target it only at enemies. So it can't actually go through the buff applicator. It needs to be somewhere else. Oh, that's going to be the tricky part, actually. Card buff updated. Card buff added dot invoke. Where is this referenced? Base card. On card buff added. I card buff listener. I'm trying to figure out how I want to pipe this through this system. I think what I may do... Get all flattened abilities of type. So there's a couple options here. One option is I could put an invisible ability on all of the enemy items that is a card buff listener. That when it detects that a confused debuff gets added, it increments the duration by 1. That would be a way to do it. The other way to do it is to just make an explicit artifact manager call here. So I do like artifact manager dot on card buff added, and then I do like this and buff. And then I handle that in like an overrideable ability, or not over, I'm using like a event system now for that, but I would create an event for card buff added, and I would subscribe to that event in the artifact. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it would be to, at the buff applicator level, at the buff applicator level, I could do something like artifact manager dot modify buff or something like that. The problem with, actually, maybe this would work. Or I could just do this. I could do something very simple. I could say if execution context dot base card dot is owned by player, and is owned by player, and buff is confused debuff. We do confused debuff dot add duration artifact manager dot accumulate modifier artifact modifiers dot additional confused duration with an initial value of 0. I mean, that might just be the way to do it. So we'll say any confusion applied by the card which is owned by the player. Oh, this needs to be... Right, this could be null. So I need to do is owned by player. Actually, let's do this. Var is player application is equal to execution context dot base card. Well, let's do execution context dot base artifact is not equal to null, or execution context dot base card is owned by player is equal to true. And then here we do if is player application and buff is confused debuff. Confused debuff. Actually, I don't need this because I can just do... I mean, that might be the way to do it, actually. I don't know if I need to set up a whole pipeline for modifying buffs. That may become useful in the future, in which case I will probably redo that. But For this very narrow case, all I need to do is just add duration in accordance with that artifact. My hero. Coming back to game dev, good to see a great game dev stream. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoy. I'm glad all of you enjoy watching. This definitely makes game development. I mean, not that game development isn't fun, but it's a lot of fun to hop on the stream and just share what I'm working on and talk with you all. Okay. Is this an extra line? Okay. Well, let's see what happens. Project settings. Well, I gotta build, and then I gotta build the translations. What do you use for board organization in Obsidian? It's Kanban community plugin. Okay, here we go. So I built the translations. That should be in the translation file now. Okay. Add artifact handbell. Handbell of Madness. Confusion lasts an additional execution. Add item hag. Oh, that's not what I want. Add item succubus. What the heck? What is going to apply confusion? Add item tentacle? What the fudge? Do I not have anything that applies confusion? How do I find that? Well, whatever. Let's just do add item hag. I feel like I'm missing something obvious. Like what? Hold on. There are too many items in the game now. I can't even remember. I can't even remember what I did. Confuse. Here we go. Oh, the strange man does confuse. I guess I need more confusion items, huh? I don't have a whole lot of confusion at all. Okay, so we'll make some more confusion items then. But let's just go with the strange man. I mean, you shouldn't go with strange men generally, but... Add item strange man. Okay. Oh, I need to add the artifact. Add artifact handbell. Okay. Deal 5 damage to self, 2 executions remaining. Let's go. So that's 1, and it should deal self damage again. Excellent. Actually, wait a minute. Did that break? 1 execution remaining. Oh, he must have confused the other one. Yeah, that's working. Awesome. Yeah, so that guy's confusing himself now too. Excellent. And there we go, new artifact. Okay. Alrighty then. So let's see, artifact. Done. Okay. I am going to kick off another build. So while the playtest is Patreon only, I am going to be pushing any new content and fixes that I add to the playtest. Just try to stuff it with as much content and quality of life fixes as possible before the playtest becomes public next week. But yeah, that's going to be it for the stream for now. I'm going to go get some lunch. But thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. If you want to get access to the playtest, you can join on Patreon, which I'm about to pull up. So the playtest is running for Patreon members right now. You can subscribe to either tier to get access to the playtest. If you subscribe to the sponsored tier, I'll send you an Alchemortis Steam key for the full game when it launches, and your name will be listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits as a thank you for supporting the development, supporting me. But you do not have to pay. You don't have to pay anything. The only time you'll ever have to pay for anything related to Alchemortis is when the game is actually on sale on Steam, full 1.0 version. The playtest will be live for everyone to try on Monday, starting on the 27th. So please don't feel obligated to support on Patreon if you don't want to. You will have an opportunity to play it yourself. But you can also wishlist the games on Steam, and we are working very rapidly towards getting a demo build ready. And yeah, so getting very close. This is going to be the last playtest. So this will be the last opportunity to try the game before anyone else can. And then when the demo comes out, we'll basically just be working towards the demo and then working towards release after that. So get your feedback in on this version of the game. Let me know what you think, and hope you all have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.